Welcome back. Hardline has taken a little hiatus. I guess we really haven't done anything with Hardline since August.
Right. The commencement of high school season, I think, for both of us.
Yeah.
Coaching, it was just one of those things where we didn't want to spread too thin. We wanted to make sure our athletes weren't spread too thin as well.
True.
But
most of our athletes probably made their team too.
Yeah, I think
for the most part. I honestly don't know.
I think they did.
So we wouldn't have had much business anyway.
Right. Very true. But yeah, no, I think it was just kind of one of those lulls in life, and we're back and we're ready to talk about some stuff. We're ready to do some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about talking and doing. So the podcast that we're just trying to do, you're clearly viewing episode 1, is a little initiative that Jesse and I wanted to do moving forward. One, to just get more content out to our followers. Not that we're booming, but we love interacting with people. And we just want to, one, be able to connect with you guys, and outside of the gym, most importantly. So probably every 2 weeks, we're going to try and get together and talk about what's going on. Life throws at you curveballs, so we'll...
Life happens, but I think every 2 weeks is manageable. Yeah,
so that's our goal moving forward with something like this, and we're just going to talk about nonsense, really.
And we definitely want to make sure, not primarily nonsense, some nonsense. We also want to make sure that we're getting other people that we feel have really great insight in front of you as well. So it's not going to be a Jon and Jesse show per se.
Very much. That would sell.
It would do something. But I think we have a lot of great connections where we are in the Lehigh Valley. It's kind of a hotbed for volleyball right now. So our connections through coaching, just through the volleyball community, the athletics community in general, I think that there's a lot of really valuable insight, and we want to make sure that we get that in front of everyone who cares to hear it at this point.
Absolutely.
And in keeping with that, if you are new here to Hardline Athletics...
Oh my gosh, you don't even know who we are.
Oh my gosh. We do small group training for volleyball athletes specifically. And in keeping with that, we kind of want to provide training opportunities for the whole athlete. So we want to make sure that athletes in the area have an outlet to participate in community initiatives, give back, and who would we be if we don't lead by example? So each episode we are going to feature some sort of local business, local community initiative, and we have Biddy and Bose here, who they are in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, fairly new to the community. And what they do is they employ intellectually and developmentally disabled people. So I think the stat that they had was over 80% of those people are unemployed. And right now they're across so many states, they have over 200 employees. So if you like coffee and you like inclusion, Biddy and Bose in Bethlehem.
It's good too.
I got cinnamon brown sugar flavor in mine.
Ooh.
Yeah. He didn't pick up the phone when I called him, so he got a black coffee.
I like a black dark roast. So.
What a guy.
It's just good. It's nice.
Mine is excellent.
I can't say that I always drink dark roast coffee. Well, just black. It's always dark roast.
Okay.
But I'm a coffee mate, hazelnut creamer type guy too. French vanilla every once in a while, but.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
No, I agree.
It's good. Just a little bit to spice it up.
Great service. Really cool place too. A lot of seating. It's right on Main and Broad Street. So
we are drinking coffee because we are currently recording this at 9:30 in the morning. Originally, it was supposed to be Friday afternoon/evening.
Yeah.
But why not support some coffee in the morning?
Exactly.
Cool.
So
sweet. So shout out to Biddy and Bose.
Yes. Definitely.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Coffee and service. Very good.
Nice.
Do you want to talk about what we're going to talk about later?
We're talking about this now, but we're also going to talk about it later, so stay tuned. We have been stockpiling some gear, if you can see, really just shirts. because we've had many requests for them. A lot of our athletes have been like, when are you getting gear, coach? Blah, blah, blah. Like, hook me up.
Yeah.
Free stuff. They really just want free stuff.
Who doesn't want a free t-shirt? Like,
so that's what we're here to do.
We always want free t-shirts.
Later on, we're going to take all of our Instagram followers, which I believe is a humble 500 and some. It's more than my personal, I'll tell you that.
Okay, yeah, I think that's where we're around. Right?
And if you follow us, we're just going to randomly draw 3-4 names, and we'll shoot you a text message, not a text. And
a
we'll,
DM.
A DM.
It means DM. It's okay.
And we'll get your information, and we will send it to you if you aren't local. And if you're local, you can expect an in-person delivery.
We're very personal. Very personal touch. Yeah, so, but you have to be following. But we'll wrap up this with that, just to make sure you have all the deets to get that going. So.
Sweet. So I guess just as a wrap up, we kind of just like dropped off in August, right? And we went and did our respective high school seasons. We just wanted to extend a very much heartfelt thank you to really everyone that's been involved, all 500 and some followers, really. Our athletes, and just everyone that has showed us love and been there from the beginning. We were able to, on average, consistently coach about 20 athletes, really from like June to August, maybe even earlier.
I would say earlier.
Yeah. Earlier, a little bit, maybe May, April.
Yeah, I think April we kind of like got a schedule in place.
Okay, shot it out there.
Yeah.
And we wound up being in 6 different high schools in the Lehigh Valley, just training athletes from them, and 2 to 3 colleges, which was awesome. Alvernia, shout out.
Yeah.
Kane, shout out.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
College-wise, I think so.
Yeah.
We even had a couple of the adult players in the volleyball community come.
Oh my gosh, the Matt show.
The Matt show.
Oh my gosh, Matt Buffum, Matt Squared.
Shout out.
Matt Buffum and Matt Elias from Team Freedom in the NBA. No, Matt is from the Matt Elias, Team Freedom. Matt Buffum, Chicago Untouchables.
I think
last
so,
year.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're in the mix now. I think Matt might have transitioned to Team Freedom. Either way, we have video of that on our TikTok of them just showing off, which was epic.
Yeah. If you have not checked out the NVA yet, I believe they're actually starting their tryouts and stuff right now. So like their season will be underway soon. Really cool that professional volleyball kind of finally coming to fruition here in the States.
Crazy.
Yeah, so hopefully women's are next.
Well, they have that,
or whatever.
What is that?
Athletes Unlimited.
Athletes Unlimited. That was cool.
That was cool. I don't know that I loved the point system. It was a little hard to follow.
I'm gonna be honest, don't know how it works.
So it was like each individual would score. So you would follow like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like based on their wins, like it would kind of rank the players as like who had the most wins, as opposed to like a true team. So like each week the teams would change a little bit.
Oh, snap.
So there was really cool pieces of it in that they would kind of have to develop chemistry really quickly and that sort of thing. But I do think that the NBA structure where they have, teams that are, geographically placed and then they do like a true like playoff, I think that's pretty cool too. So
I'm interested to see how that forms or just like creates, I don't know, harder boundaries in terms of like geographical location.
Like a hardline boundary.
Oh shoot, that was good. Because I mean, there was the Texas Tyrants or the Tennessee Tyrants.
Oh yeah.
And I know that was like kind of a crazy time where somehow like a team dropped out for like a tournament, but it was just like all PA guys that fielded this team from Texas, and they balled, which was dope.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited to see it just develop more.
Yes.
And the Athletes Unlimited thing, it sounded, or from the outside, because I didn't really watch it, it just seemed like a couple big dogs in the women's game just came and they were like, let's do old school gym class rules and like pick teams.
Literally, yes.
And then just play.
Yes.
I kind of thought that was cool.
Yeah. So like I said, like the turnaround for like what the chemistry had to be was like, that was like a cool piece of it, because it's like, all right, I'm balling with this group this week. Next week I'm balling with a different group.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
It's very gym class style though,
Yeah.
which I agree. I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted you when you were talking about what we had been doing and, taking the break from high school.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
excited about the NBA.
I mean, that's what this is for.
I know.
Sidetracks and rabbit
I'm still, like,
trails.
interrupting.
Rabbit holes? Rabbit trails? Sidebars.
Sidebars. I like rabbit trails, though. We should use that.
I think that's a saying. No? I don't know.
I've heard rabbit hole.
Rabbit trail.
Yeah,
I think I was done.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking more about, like, maybe how we would be transitioning from our high school seasons to, like, where we are now with, like, picking training back up, maybe.
Well, excuse me. We are certainly going to start doing that. But before we get there, let's talk about our season recap.
High school season.
The high school season. I mean, you guys had a run.
So I coach. I'm an assistant coach at Parkland High School, and yeah, we had a great run.
Yeah.
Yeah. We lost in the state final.
To who?
We lost to North Allegheny.
You played at Cumberland Valley.
Played at Cumberland
I get that
Valley.
mixed up all
in the
time.
Dome. It's an awesome facility. Really cool place to play. Like, they have the ceiling scoreboard, you know, and there's like over 100 kids from Parkland that came out.
Oh,
on, like,
that's awesome.
The fan bus. So it was a really cool environment. I'm glad the girls got to experience that. I have yet to be able to watch it. So
like, you don't have access to it, or you just can't bring yourself to watch it?
No, I have access. I just don't want to watch it yet.
I feel that.
I think eventually I will. But yeah, it was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Slight rabbit trail to the Dome. Playing in the Dome, how was that? Like, did it sound weird?
It didn't sound any different.
Okay.
It was, I think, like, from my perspective, being on the bench, I had, like, peripherally the fan. They were, like, up on, like, an elevated level, and then there was just, like, full bleachers in front of us, and then the scoreboard above. So, like, that was, like, it was cool. It was, like, a very, like, surrounding feeling. Like, the environment was pretty cool in that sense. I do think it played into, like, nerves maybe a little bit on both sides, just because I don't think either our team nor North Allegheny has that kind of facility.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to speak for North Allegheny. I've never been there, but it was almost like a collegiate feel, kind of, in the sense of the environment. So it was cool.
Going back, like, my rabbit trail, why I asked that.
Oh, yes, sure.
In college, we played at Rutgers Newark, and they play in the Golden Dome, I believe it's called.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. The sound was crazy in there. Like, I would be able to hear, I remember moments, like, I could hear, like, a fan across the gym, and it could be like they were talking right in my ear, and I couldn't hear my coach next to me, and his like, voice and everything would be gone just because of the way it was structured.
Yeah.
Some local guys, Travis Mincer played there. They know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
They know what I'm talking about.
You just got to go with, like, the nod.
Yeah.
The nod.
Oh, yeah.
Point.
It was a crazy. It was
Can't
crazy.
hear you, but, like, yeah, sure. Probably.
I got it, coach. As I'm listening to the fan talk about, I need
thumbs up.
I need some pretzels for my kid. Not that they ever had food.
Is that what they're yelling at you?
I don't know.
That's your dad vibes coming through. That's what you think a fan would be yelling. Now that you have a kid, that's what your example is.
I just need my kid to be quiet so I can pay attention.
Get my kid pretzels. That's what every fan yells.
My 1.5-year-old. Yeah. I mean, rounding out the rabbit hole, the trail.
Come on, you gotta be consistent.
I know, I really do. I would imagine, back to the nerves thing. Parkland's well established. Like, I would say that as a program, you have experience being in those situations often. I would imagine the same for North Allegheny, just because you're there.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're at the final. Maybe you don't have as much. I don't know, like you. I have no idea what there is like.
Excuse me. I think North Allegheny actually won the past 2 years.
Okay.
And then prior to that, we're in the final. It might have been more than that. I don't want to speak out of turn here.
We did not research any facts.
Clearly, we did not research. But, yeah, they were a super strong team, and they definitely had experience playing at that kind of level and on that kind of stage, I guess. But I just think the kind of biggest factor for us was having younger players.
Setter's a sophomore, right?
Setter's a sophomore. Our one outside's a sophomore. Our right side's a sophomore.
Really?
Yeah. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Holy crap.
So yeah, kind of having them quickly understand that they would need to get comfortable in that kind of. And I think, of course, looking to their seniors was big and seeing how they were handling it. But, definitely kudos to them. They're a huge, that's three of your 6, 7 right there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Who was your other outside that was a sophomore? Bryn was on the outside.
Bryn, and then Allie Reimer.
Allie Reimer, and then the right side that I met, what's her name?
Maddie Siggins.
Maddie. She's a sophomore?
She's a sophomore.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I really thought, again, because I did not do any research or ask.
Fair enough, that's what we're doing now.
My game plan when we played you guys was, your setter's great.
Where do you
Oh, I'm an assistant at Emmaus High School.
We're rivals.
We're rivals, essentially. So, but my strategy... When I went in and told the head coach, I was like, your setter's great, by the way, for a sophomore. She's great. She's going to be fantastic. Shout out, what's her name?
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith. She's going to be really good. I was like, I want her to crash and burn.
Sure. Fair enough, yep.
Meaning, I just wanted to put all of our pressure on her. Because I was like, you have a sophomore at the helm, leading, setting really well. I was just like, if there's anyone that's going to crack from all the pressure, having to do all of that work. I'm just like, I'm going to try and make the setter do it.
Right.
She played great.
Yeah.
Couldn't shake her.
That's the thing.
So, kudos to you, Maggie Smith.
Yeah. Game
really good.
management and, decision-making, volleyball IQ, all those kinds of things for a younger player to have to, develop at an accelerated rate because she is very much, QB.
Yeah.
She did a really great
She's driving the
job
bus.
She's driving the bus. Yeah, no. And they're all just... workhorse mentality, and buy-in is also the huge thing. I would say as the 2 takeaways that were consistent with everyone on the team. They really played for each other. I don't know what were your kind of thoughts. I know you guys had a strong senior class.
We did.
Emmaus. What do you feel like they kind of through leading by example? What did they kind of show their underclassmen was important to Emmaus volleyball culture?
So we definitely had a different season.
Okay.
I would say successful. We lost, in terms of records go, we lost in the quarters of states to Freedom. But overall, we had our seniors get together. We had 6 seniors. All of them played at one point or another.
Do you mean quarters of states?
Quarters of states. What did I say?
No, you said quarters of states.
Yeah, isn't that where we lost?
I thought it was districts.
Districts.
Yeah.
Districts.
Okay, yeah.
Not states. Sorry.
I was like, wait.
Wow. I don't understand, okay, so just my brain. I don't understand what ECPs are. EPCs?
Well, they're EPCs, yeah.
Whatever that is. I don't know why we have that and play the exact same
That's
teams.
Eastern Pennsylvania Conference.
And then we play in districts the exact same teams.
Yeah, give or take, pretty much.
Yeah, it was the same lineup that we had. So I just don't pay attention to any of that. I just show up, I coach, and I do that.
Fair enough.
They tell me where I go, and I go.
Some clarification for the people. Yeah. Continue, I'm sorry.
Most of them started, 4 of them probably consistently. Back to the loss in districts, I think it would have been a different game. We had she's a 6-foot middle, dislocate her shoulder. Super great player, great girl. She just she's our front row in terms of blocking and that first line of defense. She does so well. Would have been a different match. Love you guys, but it would have been a different story. And I would have loved to have played you guys again.
I agree.
Just what I'm getting at is we had a huge focus on culture shift this year. In terms of success, I would say we were just a very different team mentality. I think that Emmaus volleyball as a whole, I want to say it kindly just because we may have listeners that have been part of Emmaus volleyball in the past. So you know what I'm talking about.
You mean they know?
They know.
People? Okay, I see.
We had our 6 seniors come together and they really just wanted to create a whole new culture built on just supporting each other, a very much team first mentality. I hate it, but I'm going to say it, this we over me mentality. That, I heard that a lot. So it was just a huge culture shift.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to see. I think it really wouldn't have happened with any other senior class, just because of how united they were willing to be with each other and really like face adversity and like stare at it in the face.
Yeah.
We had some like meetings where like friction and tension was building between the seniors, and we were able to facilitate meetings. They were able to be very clear, conscious of each other's feelings, and be able to communicate clearly and like deal with these problems and move past it and become a stronger team. I think so.
Where do you think that tension stemmed from, in the sense of, would it be more interpersonal? And that's not in the sense of like drama or anything like that. I mean more so like just you have 6 different personalities leading.
Yeah.
Versus would it be more so kind of just trying to get like consistent expectations that everybody is kind of on the same page for? Like would it be more towards one than the other?
So I've only been a part of Emmaus volleyball for 2 years, and the current head coach, I think this was her 3rd year or 4th year. I don't remember how long Bree's been there. Yeah. But it's new, young.
Yeah.
And before that, the other coaches, like, there's history, years and years of history behind there.
They were there since I played.
So since the transition, and I'm old. So since the transition, I think it was a new coach trying to find and build expectation. And she's young. Yeah. I think, and there is an experience component to that. Not that I think that she's not qualified to coach, but I think it is what sort of coach do I want to be?
Yeah, for sure.
And
I'm still figuring that out too.
Right. I think we all are at that point. And when you're put at the head of a top high school program, you're met with certain expectations from other people. And it's tempering those and still trying to find your identity as a team. And I think that might have been a play earlier, because like there were girls that didn't have her as a coach, and so they had a different culture. There was a different mindset coming into the gym. So I think it was just trying to center that back around, like, we have to be a team first. How do we do that? What expectations and boundaries do we set to make sure that it is a team focused practice? Yes, we compete against one another. Right. We have to give 100% every time we come in there. But once we leave the gym, like, there is no personal drama that's coming into that, and it was intentional work to be able to make that work.
Conscious effort, and I think I actually want to pull up something that I have been like, this has like landed so hard with me, and I connect to this so much.
Is it the player's player thing?
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
So, and I think to your point, like, a culture shift with any kind of athletic team is really hard to do without like that full buy-in. But I do think that player-led culture shifts are the most successful. Yep. Wow, that was so risky. Love it though. And I think, coaches, of course, can facilitate certain things that get to a certain, higher level, in the sense of not necessarily player management, but just kind of program management. But I think player-led shifts like that are just so, so great. And I don't know how... Well, I personally am not like a Notre Dame football fan. I barely even watch football, to be honest. I'll watch it in the background of things, but
we're coaching fans.
We are coaching fans, yes. And the new coach for Notre Dame, I guess there was a coach there who, and I'm sure there's only going to be like 3 people that listen to this, but if one of them is like a huge college football fan, I will probably offend you so much with how I'm talking about this guy. But he was there for quite some time, had like a really impressive tenure, and then I think there was sort of like an abandoned like perspective as to how he just kind of like up and left this Notre Dame football team that was like on the rise and building something really good. So then this coach comes in and he's talking about his coaching philosophy, and I'll just really quick, I think it's okay, read this because I just love it. So he says, listen, I know I've been labeled as a player's coach and I'm proud to wear that badge, but I'll be honest, I think there's a misconception about a player's coach. That, the players like him, he's their buddy. And my players know this. Just because I don't walk around like I have to put fear in their hearts, that doesn't mean the demands aren't going to be extremely high. I've always been a believer that being a coach doesn't mean there has to be some constant level of discomfort for kids to reach their goals. You can be very demanding and still make people feel good and still make people feel important, as long as they believe that you have their best interest at heart. And I was like... if I was like a super articulate person, like maybe one day I could like say something like that, but that is exactly how I feel in the sense of like my coaching philosophy and like mentality. Like I think we've talked about this in that we now coach together so closely and, you know, train these athletes that people aren't going to take risks in an environment where they don't feel like they are fully supported, fully loved, and like fully advocated for.
Yeah.
And I think having a coach that has this kind of platform now talk about that is so cool.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, that putting that together with players that want to lead culture shifts and players that want to really emphasize culture and stuff, like I think that's like so cool, right, Reggie?
Special guest
Reggie's
Reggie.
like, I'm listening to this and I just want to come over and say I agree. I know.
I think that is really cool. And like you said, the player-led, those culture shifts and that leadership is huge. And I think that's what we started to do. Like we laid the foundation for other players to step up next year and be able to take those risks. Like the desire and the effort to move that concept forward, courageous in and of itself, right?
Yeah,
to change
absolutely.
an entire like culture, the way that someone feels walking into a gym about their team, about being there and being present, can change, you know, how you play volleyball.
Right.
So that's awesome. I love that quote. I think that that's great. And it reminded me of Bree would constantly say, like, we need to buy in. We need to buy in right now. And there would be moments where she would come over to me and I'd be like, what do I do? Like, they're playing like trash. What do I do? I'm like, Bree, there's nothing you can do right now.
Right.
There's nothing you can say. There's nothing that we can change defensively, regardless of whether the team was better than us or not.
Right.
That motivation, that drive needs to come from those leaders on the court, the players, that they need to make a change and start holding up those expectations for themselves and their teammates around it. And that's not mean.
No,
So
not at all. And Mike Kraus has been with Parkland Volleyball now for a good amount of time and has really established a culture there and a certain kind of discipline. And if you've ever watched a Parkland volleyball game, you would note that there are like about 10 assistant coaches and managers between the two. And I remember it was like the semifinal game, and you know, we have certain players on our team that will come to certain coaches. Like if I've been working with so and so on this, and they're like, hey, like my movement laterally, like I'm not getting those balls or something like that. So like they'll touch base with each of us sometimes about different things. And he at one point during the semifinal, he was like, we gotta stop talking to him. Like they just gotta go. Like literally hands off. Like, and it was so needed.
let the baby birds fly.
Yeah, 100%. And like I feel like personally, I get so into watching and trying to take in as much as I can that I'm not super vocal during games. If someone comes to me, of course, I think that's a little bit different and like wants to, you know, talk through something. But it's easy when things kind of start to like emotions heighten and people start to get frustrated. You want to help, right? Like that's what you feel like your role is as a coach. But I just thought that was like so, you know, that was a goat move in the sense of like, hey, we're hands off, they just gotta go, and they figured it out. That's something that we drive home so hard is you gotta figure it out. Like you're grown, you're 18, you're a senior, you're a captain, figure it out. And they do, you know, when you put it on them to do it, they do it.
I like that a lot. I had a moment this year with my setter. We were playing you guys actually. We play you guys at Parkland first this year.
Yes.
So
correct.
It was like a week, 2 weeks of just like my setter being like, I'm nervous, I'm excited, like I want to play, I want to beat them, I'm nervous, like this whole back and forth talk. And we lost you guys in 3, right?
Yeah, but wasn't the second set or the first set like
they were good?
Way extra points.
They were electric.
Yeah, electric.
It was probably the best match between us in the season. But it was after maybe it was just like I think we called an early timeout in the second set, or this was before we hit the floor for the second set.
Okay.
My setter was frustrated, and she's naturally a quiet person. And she comes up to me and she goes, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Let's go to the end of the bench." Because, like, they're having their conversation, like, let's talk. And I was like, I think I said something like, "Are you pissed? Like, are you mad?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, just feel it for a second. Just be mad.
Right.
You feel it? Yeah. All right, forget about it. Let's go.
Right.
And we, like, that was literally it. And we just rejoined the huddle, and then she went out, and I saw her set the best volleyball set of her entire career. Like, that game, I was just astonished of what she decided to do, decision making. And it was. I just felt like that was a moment where I was just like, you just need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to feel what you're feeling.
Yep.
Like, be aware of what's going on, and just go figure it out and just do it. Like,
I love that.
playing free is the best. It's like, I don't know, I equate that to in the zone. Like, you can just be free and you can just go do and set and play your game.
Yeah. I think Mike Krause has drilled this into my subconscious where there's, like, different levels of competency and, like, awareness with the competency. So, like, the lowest level of that would be, like, that was a shot, Reggie. The lowest level would be, like, unconscious incompetence. Like, you don't know you're bad. The next one is conscious incompetence, where you're like, okay, I have an awareness now that I'm not very good. And this is what I need to work on. The third one is conscious competence. So you're like, I'm actively using my brain to do this thing well.
Dang.
And then the highest level is unconscious competence. So you're just good. You're not thinking about it, you're just doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and those are a lot of words, and I'm, like, someone that, like, I have a terrible memory, and I remember all of those words and how they go together, because it's so true. And we had, like, our end of season, like, post-season exit interview meetings with the girls, like, one-on-one, and so many of them, when they were kind of evaluating how they played the season or what they thought they could do better, had such awareness that I was so impressed with.
That's cool.
And I was thinking to myself, like, trying to think back to, like, each girl specifically, and I was like, I could tell that, like, when you were playing your best, you were just totally external. Like, everything that you were doing was just, in each moment, you were, like, dialed in on each touch. Like, it wasn't like you're thinking about the next thing, you're thinking about the last thing.
Yeah.
I think when we go job to job in volleyball specifically, we sometimes get ahead of ourselves mentally, and then we're not fully present on that. And that's a hard thing to, like, to do subconsciously then, because you want to be like, okay, well, I want to stay present, but that's still being internal technically, because you're telling yourself something. You don't want to be telling yourself anything while you're playing. You know, that's what all the training, that's what all the preparation's for. That's when you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really cool. And to get back to what you said in the sense of your talk with your setter, and then her just kind of, like, decision making in general, I also think it's really cool because they make a decision to just make a shift. You know, and, like, I can remember years ago, excuse me, when we played, and I have such a bad memory, I think it was like 2015, the Parkland team, we either played Exeter or we played at Exeter.
Okay.
And we were down 0-2 in sets, and it was the third set. And I can remember the seniors took a timeout, and they're like, we're not losing. We're not losing. And they reverse sweeped it, and they won. And it was, like, such a shift. They just made a decision simply to not lose. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that.
Yep.
Which, speaking of NCAA tournament, there was a reverse sweep or two, I think.
I don't know.
I know that Texas did with,
here. Throw me my iPad. I can look up the bracket real quick.
Whoever Texas played before this most recent game. Is this, like, magnetic?
Oh, it might be. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
So high tech. Texas played Nebraska last
night.
We
love Texas, by the way.
We love Texas. Pitt, I want Pitt to win the whole thing.
Same.
Okay, so we're on the same page here. Anyway, Texas is out of it now. But who did they play before Nebraska? Illinois? Why do I think that? No.
Washington.
Washington, duh. They reverse sweeped him.
Yep.
And I have to think, I mean, the leadership on that team, Logan Eggleston, absolute stare down, like, after she'll, like, roof block slides and stuff. Like, oh my God, she's just so cool. I have to think that was a leadership thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like, we're not losing. And that's just like, ooh, that's that energy that I love.
I agree. I think that's just so cool. And, like, the guts, like, how do you make people like that? How do you, like, I don't think it's anything that, like, again, we come back to coaching, and it's all facilitation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't make you better. I can't, like, yeah, we can talk about, like, knowledge in the game and why we do things in proper form, but, like, if you don't go out and execute, if you don't go out and take risks, if you don't work on, like, non-volleyball skills like your communication and analyzing, like, being aware in those moments and, like, realizing, okay, a leader needs to step up right now. I need to look at the other 5 girls on the court. Are any of them going to do it?
Right.
No, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so epic.
And I think that, like, absolutely transcends both the physical and the mental piece of the game, where it's like, you don't wait for permission to, like, take accountability, to take ownership and lead a team.
Just do it.
Like, if me and you are playing next to each other in a back row, I'm not going to look for you and wait for you to get the ball. If I see the ball, I'm going to get the ball.
See ball, get ball.
And it's the same thing, I think, with, like, that mentality, too. Like, I'm not going to... And I feel like, you know, like, in school... Remember school, when we went to school? It's, like, so many years ago. Like, if a teacher would ask a question, like, you would know it. Maybe... I don't want to speak for you. If a teacher would ask a question and I would know it, I'd be like... Let me just wait and see. I think someone else could probably answer this. Like, it's the same kind of mentality, I feel like, with volleyball, where it's like, okay, I know what needs to be said right now, but let me see if someone else says it. Like, no, that's not going to be what your team needs in that moment.
Yeah.
They don't need you to wait for permission. They need you to just go.
Do you think that sort of mentality, that, I don't want to say aggressiveness, because I don't think it's aggressive. Like, do you think, what would you call that? Initiative to, like, go and do something?
I think it's like awareness and I think it's the combination of awareness and initiative.
Do you think that players today see that as, like, a form of aggression or hostility?
So I don't want to ruffle any feathers on our first episode. I do think that kind of way of thinking is more so in the world of women in sports.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I think guys can quite literally just, like, punch each other in the face and be like, let's play volleyball. And, like, there's no hard feelings. I think with, and this might be an outside of this kind of world of sport type thing that I'm getting into, so I won't go too far, but I just think in the sense of a lot of women, whether it be professionally, personally, academically, like, there has been kind of a shade casted over a woman who is strongly opinionated, or who is, and again, aggressive isn't the right word. It shouldn't be aggressive.
Right.
Because if, and I'm not saying, like, well, if a guy would do it, it wouldn't be aggressive. Like, it could still be, but I just think that there's, like, certain behaviors that, you know, will be consistent across, like, a men's and a women's game, but will be looked at differently maybe in a women's game. And I don't think that it's men versus women. I think we as women have been, like, ingrained to think that that's being, like, rude or, like, a bad word.
Can we swear, or should we swear?
I don't know. Maybe not the first episode. Yeah. Maybe, like, the third. And I think that's so unfair. And I don't think it's like a, well, you know, we're being pigeonholed into feeling this way. I just think it's like a through history thing that, you know, we're still working through society, like, as a society, you know.
Sure.
And I think I think the more we are aware of that in athletics, the better, so that we can kind of circumvent that and make it a positive.
Yeah.
Because I think that, you know, taking charge, that's what you need to do. If you're working professionally and you want to raise, you got to say, hey, I'm more valuable than this.
Yeah.
And I think if we can start doing that as younger women in sport and say, hey, we got to do this. I got to do this better so that you guys can do this better.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you lead with accountability, you can never look at that as like a negative.
Yeah. I think there's a huge difference. I just kept coming back to confidence. It's just about, like, you're confident in your abilities. You're confident about just, like, taking that step up and speaking.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be aggressive.
Yeah.
So, you talk about how guys can punch each other in the face. When playing in college, a buddy of mine, he was a middle, Ethan, we would scream at each other.
Yeah.
He would block me, and he would tell me I'm, like, the worst hitter he's ever seen.
This is what I mean.
Like, it was just like, and then we would chirp at each other the entire time. I would scream at him for not running down a ball if he was, like, in the back row, like, in that one rotation that he needed to serve and play defense. Mm-hmm. I would scream at him, and back and forth. And we're great friends. Like,
right.
He's just recently married, having a baby. Congrats, Ethan. You're great.
Ethan.
Miss you.
Really great stuff.
Yeah. So I would have loved to see Mia just unleash and just yell at someone this year. It would have just been
one
epic.
Of your seniors.
One of my seniors. Yeah. Okay, which just would have been epic.
And the thing is, though, I think to your point, that kind of sentiment and feedback is respected if you hold yourself accountable to that same standard.
Yeah.
So if you're like, go get that ball, and that person knows you will always go get that ball,
right,
they'll be like, okay, yeah, I gotta go get that ball.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And
I think that can not only push other people, but you're also maintaining a certain expectation for yourself then too, which I think is really important. Like, when I played in college as a captain, like, I was always so, like, hyper aware of making sure that I was telling everybody else what I was going to do better if I had to tell them that they had to do something better. Because there's always something you can be doing better.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that can kind of create that sense of, all right, this is a full push effort on everyone right now. It's not like you are a person that needs to do something better so that the rest of us can do something better. It's just like you said, we over me. And I think that, I don't know if, like, I think actually one of the high school teams, was it Liberty maybe, had like the warm-up shirts?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, like, I do agree with that.
Absolutely. I just don't like the way it sounds. We over me.
It's just like, is that one word? Like, what did you just say?
Yeah, I don't know.
We over me.
I agree with the concept.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. What about going back to the bracket? Anything else we want to chat about there?
So I did not watch really any of the first round. I take that back. I watched Towson play Penn State. Shout out Rachel Hess.
And Kristen Spangler, another Lehigh Valley.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. She's good too.
We love Lehigh Valley volleyball.
Love Lehigh Valley. That's why we're here, honestly.
Truly.
Rachel played lights out.
Holy moly.
She played D. It was really good.
Rachel went crazy.
Just shout out Penn State. Johnny Parker's insane.
She is. And there's another Lehigh Valley Macy, Emmaus grad.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about her. I didn't get to coach her though, so that's probably why. That was dope. Pitt taking them down in 4, which was epic. I did watch that game. That was awesome.
And most recently, yesterday, Pitt beat
Purdue.
Purdue, thank you.
So they're Purdue. In the Final Four, we have Pitt versus Nebraska, Louisville versus Wisconsin. Was Louisville good last year? Were they like a ranked?
I think they were like up and coming. Like, I think they were probably like in the teens ranked.
Okay. I'd have, again, no research
I literally
whatsoever.
have like no basis for saying that. I'm probably wrong.
I thought Oregon was ranked relatively high last year. Again, could be totally wrong, but when they lost to Kansas, I was surprised.
Kansas was kind of like Cinderella, right? They weren't ranked. They kind of like took some teams out.
Yep. They beat Creighton. Creighton. I think that they were the first ranked team to lose.
Okay.
Creighton.
I
don't know.
It's Creighton.
The Islanders, I think. They have a bird as a mascot, so not an Islander.
The Pitt Purdue game, I was so impressed, and she is currently my favorite college volleyball player.
Who's that?
Lekator Member-Mene.
She
is great name. She transferred from Mizzou, so this is her 5th year. I love these COVID years, by the way. Like, y'all better take them.
Right?
Like, that's a dream.
total other rabbit trail. I think this 5th year, this COVID year, totally has ruined volleyball recruiting.
Oh my
for
god,
a long
yeah.
time. But
That
I'm loving that I got to see like Yassiana Presley play again.
Exactly.
Like, that was cool.
Yes, I agree with that. Honestly, the recruiting process has just, I'm sure, been like a nightmare for players and coaches. But this girl, I mean, Member Monet, she is 5'8", and she is a pin hitter for Pitt. And she 6 rotations, crazy. And the girl just balls. I mean, she's crazy good. They went 4 sets with Purdue. Going into the 4th set, she was hitting like 438 on a pin.
That's nuts.
Like, she's a monster.
That's awesome.
I'm such a fan. I'm like a fangirl for her.
Speaking of transfers, I have to figure out her name. I think it's number 19 on Texas. She subs in for the opposite and plays in 1.
Oh, did she set?
No, she's just a defensive specialist for the
Peterson?
opposite. Peterson.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's a transfer from like a local community college.
Really?
Like a couple years ago. And her serve is banging.
Serve is great.
Her defense is unreal.
Yeah.
I just love stories like that.
She has great pickups.
In the 3rd set, the reason why I think they won the 3rd set last year, when she ran and brought the ball back, I think Eggleston shanked it.
Okay.
She ran to the bench and brought it back.
Okay.
And they free balled it over. She got back to play defense and won. She dug a ball, and then Eggleston got the kill. And then they just started taking off. I just thought it was epic. It was just I just love the hustle and the heart. Like,
I love the tournament.
Like, community college girl. I'll have to fact check that, so don't quote me. But I'm pretty sure
Look in the notes. We don't even know how to do a podcast, but there's probably not going to be any notes.
I'm pretty sure that was the story last year when I watched them, that she was a transfer in, and just like to a top D1 school like Texas.
That's sick. Starting,
being a defensive sub, sick. Just awesome. Love that.
Yeah, I think
you gotta believe
the whole transfer thing, and like even with Serena Gray on Pitt, she transferred from Penn State.
Yes.
And is doing her 5th year with Pitt, and then I'm sure beating them was like the coolest feeling for her ever.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then on Penn State, Adriana Rollins, she was the transfer from Minnesota.
Okay.
Doing her 5th year. So it was just cool to kind of see, like, you learn a player and, like, you're like, oh, this is an impact player for this team, and now they're an impact player for another, really big name team. It's just so interesting to kind of see that dynamic, because I don't think this has happened as much, obviously, I think with COVID being, like, such a thing. I
wonder what incites, like, transfers like that.
I know.
Like, you're already at Minnesota.
Right.
Like, you're already playing in one of the best schools
I wonder
ever.
if it has anything to do with, like, you being there one more year and, like, a new class coming in, maybe with, like, people at certain competing positions, or...
We'll have to get them on here to talk.
Ladies, if you want to come talk, just send us a DM. You can come on our show. We'll get another chair.
I was chatting with local friends, Michael Bertucci.
Okay.
Him and his wife both graduated. They did their master's or grad school at North Carolina.
Cool.
And apparently the North Carolina-Tennessee game was kind of like a grudge match-ish. Ooh. Because...
I know nothing about that.
I'm going to get the story wrong.
Sure.
Essentially. But I believe the assistant coach, one of the coaches from North Carolina, took the head coaching job from Tennessee. Ooh. They played them first round and took some players with.
Ooh.
Like, transferred. So it was like, I'll have to check on that, but I want to go back and watch that game. He was telling me that it was like, I don't want to say bad blood, I don't want to speak for anybody, but
right.
But like, it could have been a barn burner. But Tennessee wound up winning in 4, sorry.
Yeah, because they actually, who did they lose to then?
Ohio State.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I watched some of the Georgia Tech-Louisville game last night.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Louisville is just commanding.
They are.
They're
really
outside
are.
number 14. Honestly, both of them, insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely nutty.
And don't they have a younger setter, or am I thinking of someone else?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Speaking of setters, just bouncing around from team to team.
Sure.
I would watch, a couple years ago, I watched Lauren Carlini when she was still playing for Wisconsin. It was like a setting video. It was like the coach talking about setting and using Lauren Carlini as a demo person. And the current setter for Wisconsin, Sydney Hilly, she was a freshman in that video.
Oh,
and she would talk about, like, oh, how amazing it is to, like, be with someone who I idolized as a player in the same gym, learning from them. As I watched Wisconsin play last night, I remembered that
That's
little
so
side
funny.
piece.
Like,
yeah.
Humble beginnings,
And then that's 4 years ago, 5 years ago, so I'm old. It's very old.
We're just old.
We're just old.
We're old.
Yeah. Any other shout-outs that we did not see High Point in the tournament this year.
Oh, we love High Point.
I loved watching them last
They
year.
were awesome.
Let me see if they weren't in there. I watched a few of their matches this season. I loved watching them. They were like the underdogs that we decided to root for last year.
I was a fan. I don't know if World of Sports. Remember Florida Gulf Coast? Oh my God. Florida Gulf Coast University. I don't know why I said like a Southern FGCU.
Okay.
They were like same sort of thing, like Cinderella story in the basketball tournament. And they had these dudes that would like take off from literally the half court line and like dunk it. It was like they were on trampolines and everyone was like, who is this team?
Slam ball is making a comeback.
Oh my God, remember Slam ball? Oh my God, we're so old. Everyone's probably like, what is Slam ball? Google that.
Sheesh.
YouTube that. If you have some time. If you wanna go down a rabbit trail, Google that. But yeah, no, I like latching on to those teams that kind of
too.
Just take it and run.
Yep. So we have, like I said, the semifinals are they're not till next week. The 16th. 12-16. 4 days from now.
Right.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Day.
Louisville versus Wisconsin at 7 and Pittsburgh versus Nebraska at 9:30.
These are late.
They are. I mean, we were up. I was watching. I had to go to bed. Watching the Texas versus Nebraska game.
It was like the second set, and I was like,
I turned it in.
Which game is first on Thursday?
Louisville versus Wisconsin.
All right, then I have to stay up late for my pit lady.
Yeah, that's the one I really want to watch because I know truly bad blood with me and Nebraska, but I just don't want to see Nebraska win.
I don't either.
Especially up against
I don't
Pitt.
think anybody from Nebraska will ever watch this. I think we can say it. I don't know why either. I just don't. Let us know why we should like Nebraska.
Yeah.
Because we don't.
The head coach is John Cook. Again, haven't really heard it.
He doesn't move me.
Yeah, haven't heard anything that I don't like.
No.
Haven't fallen in love with anything.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hugh McCutcheon. I watched one of his, he did a coaching webinar, and it was just
Kelly
everything
Sheffield's
he was saying,
my boy.
You love him.
I love Kelly.
Yeah, and another Lehigh Valley standout, Avery Perosa, played at Pitt. And she had kind of said that, there was like that culture shift happening there, and you can totally see that. She graduated 2019, I think, and then she went on to play her 5th year beach at Jacksonville, which was pretty cool.
Jacksonville.
So I guess we are a little biased with Pitt.
A little,
not a lot.
I was talking with my friend Oliver, who's a huge Penn State fan. I played with him in
like
college.
All sports, Penn State, or
everything.
Okay,
he is just. He didn't go to Penn State. I guess he has some. I don't know why. Whatever. He was like trying to convince me. He was like, "Why do you like Pitt? There's no one from the in the United States that plays for Pitt." And I was like, "And they're starters." And I was like, "What?"
That's not true.
That's what I said. I don't know.
Kayla Lund's a California product,
California product.
You can tell she is their outside just stud. She actually, I believe she tore her ab or something.
Ow.
So she was out for a while, and then her game back, she looked like there wasn't a thing wrong with her. I mean, she was just pounding the ball. But last night, she looked like she might have been hurting a little bit. But defensively, oh my God, she just picked it up. And you can tell the girl's from California because when she puts a second ball up, beautiful.
Butter. Love that.
Absolutely beautiful. Just can chuck that thing.
So here's my official response to Oliver. Because I like Pitt. No real reason. Avery Perosa. Because I think they're dope. Panthers are a sick animal.
They are.
They're way better than... What is Penn State Cougars? Mountain Lions.
The Cougars. No, they're the Nittany Lions.
I think a Panther would beat a Nittany Lion in a fight.
That actually would be a good fight.
Dan Fisher, how long has he been the head coach of Pitt?
Since Avery was recruited, I think.
Oh, so he's new. He's like new.
Not new.
Well,
like
he doesn't have like a Russ Rose type.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Right. I like him too. I think he's like, the vibe I get is dope. Yeah, so we hope that they win.
Yeah, we do.
Anything else regarding the NCAA tournament? Go watch. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Other than that.
When's the final supposed to be? Saturday then?
I just lost the bracket. Gosh dang it. Yeah, I would assume so.
The semifinals are Thursday, I would think.
The 18th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That'll be dope. We'll have to get together and watch that together. That'd be cool.
Maybe we'll like commentate it.
That would be really funny.
That's a word.
Commentation.
Yeah.
Sick. So, I wanted to ask you this. Do you have a favorite memory, like a favorite moment from your season this year?
Ooh.
I have one.
Okay, go.
So, we weren't playing. It was during warm-ups, actually.
Okay.
And I swear. So, one of our seniors, Mia Pickering, traditionally a libero. We transitioned her to an outside this year. Mm-hmm. And she's like...
Which she can absolutely hang. She plays
great
outdoor volleyball, which always
She can hang. Yeah. And I was planting that seed, like...
I know you were.
A year ago.
Club. Yeah, I remember.
Go over to her during club
season. I think it was to her dismay, too. Like,
yeah.
She'd be like, no.
Yeah, I was like, Mia, you should probably just get some swings on the outside, get ready for high school. But it was a warm-up match against... Don't remember. Don't care.
Fair enough.
Her second to last warm-up swing, I swear, you know when like the mechanics of volleyball just come together and it's like beautiful?
Yes.
I swear she hit the ball at the top of the pin and just cranked it. Like everything was in sync. And she can jump. She can jump well. Like, and she's like 5'7".
Yeah, I'm 5'6".
Somewhere around there, yeah. But yeah, maybe 5'6".
Yeah.
I don't want to give her credit where credit is due.
Right.
But it was just epic, and I stood there and stared, and I was like, she came down, and she was like, hey, Coach Jon, and I was like, Mia, do you see what you just, do you know what you just did? Like, it was epic. That was, like, probably one of my favorite, like, one of my favorite of many.
Yeah.
But, like, in terms of, like, volleyball skill, execution.
Yeah.
Picture perfect.
Yeah.
It was pretty dope.
I like that.
You? I had other moments too. It was just the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, there's so many. And since you did a volleyball moment, I kind of want to do like a non-volleyball moment, but like within the team culture, we had a girl who, with COVID, like I think the mask. I'm not like entirely sure what the true mask rule was this season. I mean, like it was like wear them, but then like if you're playing, you don't really have to. But some teams still did. I know at Parkland we kept them on when we played just because, if there would be any kind of, like, exposure, it was, like, I think the rule's, like, if you're vaccinated and masked, you wouldn't have to quarantine then. So, like, people were just kind of, like, we don't want to miss out on games, so let's just
wear them.
Wear masks all the time, yeah. So then we got to the point, though, where I think, like, the rules shifted a little bit, like, within our school district where we were allowed to take them off while we were playing. I think that was more towards, like, postseason. And we had a girl who... had like an exposure, but she was vaccinated and masked. So she just out of like an abundance of caution was like, I want to still wear my mask when I play. And she was talking to her, which I'm not gonna like name any names, of course, but so she was talking to her head coach, and she was like, I'm just like a little embarrassed. Like I feel like, everyone else isn't wearing, and I look like I'm like I don't want to look like I'm sick because I'm not. It was just like out of an abundance of caution. And we had another girl on our team that was like, I'm gonna wear my mask too for you.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I was like, I love that. It sounds so simple and so basic, but I just think, like, with how everything has been the past couple of years, it's just really cool to see people, like, stretch themselves on another person's behalf.
Yeah.
And, like, it was like, she, like, overheard it, and she's like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna wear my mask, too.
I think that's awesome.
Automatic.
That's so cool.
Oh,
because it's like, we're constantly in this, I don't know, culture, society, where, like, we should be ashamed of our fears and insecurities. Yeah, and I think that that's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, that just shouldn't be, like, your feelings and everything that, like, it's valid, right, to some extent.
Right.
So, like, that's just so cool that, like, your teammate, again, culture, have your back like that.
Yep.
Over what seems like now maybe something so minuscule.
Right.
Like, not a big deal, but in that moment, for that girl, super important.
It made her more comfortable.
Yeah.
That's, like... ultimate teammate.
That's
move.
so cool.
I just love it.
Because it is a big deal in the moment.
It is.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Props to them.
Gosh,
that's awesome.
People are great.
People can be great.
People can be great.
We have to choose to be.
We do.
Love that. Well, congratulations.
Well, congratulations on being a good person.
I guess with that, I mean, we're approaching the hour mark.
Yeah.
Should we wrap this up?
Wrap it up.
The last sip of coffee.
I don't know why I got you a big one. I got myself a small one. Cheers.
It was very good.
Because they're empty.
It was good.
Yeah, they're empty, so you know they really were good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just putting up a front there. Empty. I don't even know yet how we're going to be putting this out. That's still kind of being decided in the sense of what platform we're going to be using.
All of them?
All of them.
If you're listening, we'll hopefully get it up on our website just so you can listen in the background. Love to figure out how to get it up on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you listeners, I mean, you would have to listen to it somewhere beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to help us. I don't know. For those that are big YouTube fans, we've just set a camera up and have just filmed it. So
you'll either be watching or hearing this.
Yeah.
In some way or another. And if you ever have anything that you want to hear us talk about, if you have our numbers, call us. If you
that's
just want to,
me DMing.
Yeah, if you're not watching this and listening, that was a texting motion, I think. Yeah. Or even if you don't know us, you know, at Hardline Athletics on Instagram, DMs are open. That's what the kids say.
I can't even get into
I'll help
what
you.
kids say. Kins?
That's what the kids say. So our
Man.
DMs are open if there's ever anything you want us to talk about. If there's ever anybody you want us to try to talk to. We have a couple people we've already reached out to that we are hoping to bring on either live here physically or through, I'm not the tech person, through a screen that is...
Through the screens.
Also going to be...
in front of
shown
their
to
screen.
You. Yes. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. And then with the giveaway... when will we be doing that?
Say we do it off camera, just because I don't know how to do this right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Or do you know how?
Oh,
today.
Oh, we're doing it today.
Yeah, we'll do it today.
We're doing it today.
Today is Sunday, the 12th.
Sunday the 12th.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we will send out messages today or tomorrow.
So you would be hearing this after the fact, and maybe you could be wearing your t-shirt now while you're listening.
That'd be so cool.
But, yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. We didn't introduce ourselves in the beginning, but I'm Jon. That is Jesse, and you probably hear my dog Reggie upstairs.
She's the best.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of the Hardline Podcast.
Yep.
We will have episode 2 to you soon.
Let us know what you want to hear.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.